Hello, 8th grade algebra students. Here are your Chapter 2B guided notes and the practice. Okay, this is 2.6 guided notes part 2. We're still continuing on with 2.6, so we're still working on proportions and ratios and converting and solving for proportions as well. And I hope that the first part went pretty well for you. If you want, you can put your name up the top. It should be at the front of your packet still as well. This first one, we're going to be converting rates. So let's look at example 1. The record running speed of a giraffe is 34.7 miles per hour. So I can write that as 34.7 miles per 1 hour. Okay. It asked me, what is the speed in feet per minute? So that's two things that I need to change here. So I need to multiply and change my miles into feet, and I need to multiply my hours into minutes. Now, I have listed here that 1 hour equals 60 minutes and 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So I am going to multiply, first I'm going to multiply my minutes. So I'm going to need to have 60 over 1 hour. 60 minutes over 1 hour. These cancel, hours cancel out. 1 times 60 gives me 60. So now I have that giraffe ran 34.7 miles per 60 minutes, okay, or still 1 hour. Now I need to change this, okay? What I need to do now is to change my miles into being feet. I'm gonna do this by changing it by multiplying by 5,280 feet per 1 mile. My miles cancel out. I multiply across the top. My bottom stays the same. 60 minutes. And then multiply 34.7 times 5,280. I end up with a grand total of 1,832, or 183,216 to be more precise. Now I just need to reduce, because now I'm left with feet over minutes. And I need to get down to 1 minute on the bottom, because I'm trying to find out how many feet per minute that giraffe was traveling. So I need to get down to 1. So how can I divide 60 to get down to 1? I can divide 60 by 60 to get 1 there. So let's write this out one last time here. I divide each by 60. 60 divided by 60, I know is going to give me 1, which is my 1 minute. And then I just need to divide my 183,216 divided by 60. And I end up with 3,053 6/10. And that is still in feet. That's how many feet that giraffe was traveling per minute. So this is my final answer of how fast that giraffe traveled in feet per minute. Let's move on down to example number 2. Okay. Let's start off by rewriting this problem right here. I'm just going to rewrite it so I can show you what I am doing to the problem. Again, we're just cross multiplying on this. I multiply down, I multiply down. Negative 3 times b is just going to give me negative 3b is equal to 1 times b plus 2. And I can just distribute that out, which still gives me 1b plus 2. So I end up with the same thing in this situation. Now, many of you are going to see that I want to get rid of the negative 3b because we don't like dealing with negative variables like we talked about in our last chapter. We don't want to have to deal with that. So let's get rid of it. Let's add 3b instead. There's 0 on this side now. There's nothing over there. b plus 3b. I now have 4b's plus 2. I need to get rid of this plus 2 on this side. How do I get rid of a plus 2? I have to use the opposite function, so I subtract 2. Subtract 2 from each side. I'm left with negative 2 equals 4b. Last thing that I need to do here, I have multiplication happening, so I need to use division to undo it. I'm undoing the division I'm undoing multiplication by using division. These 4's cancel. I'm left with b equals -2 fourths, or you can reduce that down by dividing each the top and the bottom by 2 to get a nice fraction of 1/2, -1/2. You could also have divided -2 by 4 and received -5/10, and that is acceptable as well. Two different ways that you could have gotten down to that answer. All these 3 answers are all the same answer. We just like these ones better because they are in lowest terms. Our last problem on this page today. On this page, we have one last one to do after this. First of all, I need to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply y plus 2 times 31 and 11 times y plus 7. So when I'm doing that, I am going to rewrite it. 11 times y plus 7 is equal to 31 y plus 2. I now need to distribute these out and multiply each of these. Again, when I'm distributing, I'm doing 11 times y, which gives me 11y, 11 times 7, which gives me 77. Same thing with the 31. I am going to distribute or multiply out. 31 times y is just 31y. 31 times 2 is going to give me 62. Okay, I'm going to see that I have like terms right here. I just need to combine those two just like we were doing in our last unit. I'm going to take the 11 away from this side since it's smaller than 31. That way I don't have to deal with negative variables. These cancel. I'm left with 77 equals 31 take away 11 gives me 20y plus 62. Just down to a 2-step algebra equation now. I have to get rid of this add 62. The way that I get rid of an addition is I use the opposite, which is subtract. Subtract 62 from both sides. These cancel. 7 take away 2 is 5. 7 take away 6 is 1. 15 equals 20y. My next step here, after I rewrite the problem, is to simply, I have 20 times y, I have to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. These cancel out. I'm left with y equals 15 over 20. I can simplify this by dividing each the top and the bottom by 5. I see that they're both divisible by 5, and I know 15 divided by 5 gives me 3, and 20 divided by 5 gives me 4. I can have this as y equals 3/4. If you want this as a decimal, you can also have it as y equals 75 hundredths, okay, or 0.75. Either of these answers are correct. We like it in both of these ways, as that is in simplest terms. If you flip your page, you're going to see a map of California, and this deals with scale models, okay? So this is something that you might deal with in your history class with Mr. Miller, or in high school of trying to figure out how far actually a location is away from another location, okay? On the map, the distance from Santa Cruz to Santa Maria is 7.8 inches. From Santa Cruz to Santa Maria. What is the approximate actual distance? So we're going to define what the actual distance is of those two. I have here a ratio already in place of 1 inch is equal to 25 miles. Now I know that I have 7.8 inches between Santa Cruz and Santa Maria. What I don't know is how many actual miles there are there. So let's have m equal our miles. All that I need to do now is simply cross multiply like we have been doing the entire time. 1 times m is just going to be 1m. 7.8 times 25, if we do that here on our calculator, I have 195, and that would be my miles. So I have 195 miles between Santa Cruz and Santa Maria. Let's write that down right here. Pretty straightforward, pretty easygoing ratio there. Now, I see that I have a second part to this question in this application-based problem. The actual distance between Fresno and Bakersfield is 110 miles. So we need to find what is the distance between these two locations on the map. And remember, on the map, we're dealing with inches. So again, I'm going to take my first part right here of just 1 inch equals 25 miles on the map. I'm going to set it equal to, again, what I'm trying to figure out from Fresno to Bakersfield. I know the actual distance, my actual miles, is 110 miles. I don't know how many inches that it is between Fresno and Bakersfield. So that is my x of what I'm trying to figure out. So my x equals my inches. Here, what I need to do is just simply cross multiply just like I did above to solve for my x, or my variable. X times 25 gives me 25x. 1 times 110 gives me 110. One-step algebra equation now. I have 25 times x equals 110. I have to do the opposite of multiplication here, which is division. I'm going to divide each side by 25. These cancel out. X is equal to, I divide 110 divided by 25, I end up with 4.4. And now when I have it in, I need to label it correctly, but there are 4.4 inches between Fresno and Bakersfield. And let's just be even more specific and say on the map. And that's the solution to the second part of this problem. What I'm going to ask from you guys next is to complete the practice problems for part 2. That being said, I have 3 problems that need to be completed. A giraffe problem again. This is going to be just like our first example from our guided notes today. Just like that, okay? This is like example 1. A ratio problem in car building, okay? That's going to be pretty straightforward. This is going to be our scale 1, like the map 1 from example 3. That's the one you should look at. And last but not least, you have another scale 1 that's going to also be like example 3 today. Okay? So that's kind of a guide point that you can use to complete these 3 problems here. If you need more space, you're welcome to add another piece of paper to solve them. When you're finished with all of these materials, make sure that when you are finished with all of these, that you take your packet, make sure your name's at the top of the page, put it back in your red folder, and then send it back with a material swap on Monday. Now that material swap on Monday is October 26th. Make sure your materials have your name on it, and then it goes back in your red folder. If you have other math materials lying around your house that need to be graded, make sure you send those back so I can grade those and get those in the grade book for you guys. If you guys have questions, make sure you guys rejoin Google Meets or send me an email. Thanks, guys.